What's up, guys? Welcome back to Houston Productions. Another Sunday has passed, which means that there is another episode of The Last of Us, episode 4, to talk about. So, let's talk about it, shall we? Welcome back, guys. I'm your host, Lucas, as always, and we are here to talk about The Last of Us Episode 4. And right off the bat, I gotta tell you, it was not my favorite episode. I will probably say it was probably one of, if I'm going to rank them, probably the 4th out of 4 episodes. And it wasn't even a bad episode. That just shows you that the standard and the bar that this series has set so far has just been that high. It's going to be really hard to continuously week after week be the great episode that episode 3 was, regardless of the discourse and regardless of where you stand on it. It was a great episode. Or, you know, the first 2 episodes were just very world building, action packed. So yes, this was probably the weakest of the 4, but that is in no way me trying to say that this was a bad episode. This episode was all about character building, relationships, introducing a couple new characters, and I think that this type of episode, although it seemed a little bit slower, was needed. Now, whenever I say slower, it's kind of ironic because there is a chase scene, there is a gunfight, there is a hunting down type of scenes, and there's a lot of foreshadowing happening in this episode. But I just didn't really feel like it had as big of excitement or the stakes that some of the other episodes had, that didn't really just like latch me and like really get me, you know, moment to moment that I was just like, oh my god, this is must-see TV. Still very good episode, like I said. But like I mentioned, we are introduced to a couple new characters. We're introduced to new rebel groups. There's a couple scenes, you know, just have there been in the last episodes that are pulled directly from the video game, which is pretty cool to see. But let's talk about probably the big introductions of the main characters that are going to have a big impact here in the next coming episodes, if not the remainder of the season. We're talking about the new rebel leader, Kathleen, and then we're also talking about Henry and Sam. So reaching back on Kathleen, if you don't know anything about this actress, Melanie Lynskey, then you definitely should go check out her other series that is not running right now. It's about to be coming back in Yellow Jackets, which she is absolutely incredible. And seeing her do something slightly different in this is really interesting to see. I like the choices that she makes as this character. She's a modern day Karen in the Apocalypse, which I find interesting, but there's something about her. Like, she's playing this very innocent, woe is me, and kind of soft-spoken leader, but she's also in charge. So what does she actually accomplish to get all these guys in body armor and helmets and with rifles to follow her of all people? Because she doesn't seem like she's the overly demanding presence. She just kind of seems like she's one of the people who just so happens to have spoken up. In this episode, we also learn a lot about Joel's brother Tommy. We also learned that it was in fact his truck, so I was wrong about that prediction. I thought that it may have been Joel because whenever Tess and Joel and Ellie were actually at the original Fireflies camp that they got to, I thought that he may have had a little PTSD looking at grenades. I was wrong about that, but that's okay. It still kind of gives us a lot of insight as to the relationship between Joel and Tommy, and then why he's feels the need to seek out Tommy and why it's such a big thing. And like I said, this episode was all about understanding characters, building those relationships, not only between Joel and Ellie, which we see a lot of jokes, we see a lot of puns, we see laughter, we see agreement, but between Joel and other people who aren't even on the screen, like Tommy. Like I just mentioned, we learn why Tommy is so important, why Joel does the things that he does. And it kind of really lets us a deeper insight into who Joel is as a person and why he's slowly softening to Ellie. Not only is it a reminder of his daughter that he lost, but it's a way to get to Tommy. Yes, all those things are true, but it's also a very big reminder that he is a protector, just like Frank had told him he was. And I'm sorry, Bill. But it's really showing us why he feels that he has to do the certain things that he does. His violence is there for a reason. Overall, like I said, I think this is a great episode. Touching on the last couple of characters that are introduced, we're literally right into that final moment. We're talking about Henry and Sam, who Kathleen is searching for, to the point that she is willing to murder a doctor. A doctor in the apocalypse, being as rare of a person that would to still be alive. She has no problem murdering this man just because she needs to find Henry and Sam. So what did Henry and Sam really do? What is the significance of them? Why are they running? Like, what? We're going to figure it out. I understand, and I know because I played the game, but I don't want to spoil completely everything coming in the show. As far as the spoiler warning on this goes, it is talking about things within the episode, but not talking about possible things to come. Reason being, I have played the games, and there's a lot of stuff that's kind of deviating from the games, like the giant hole in the ground, stuff like that. So I think that this show overall has done a really good job of pacing. Like I said, this did feel like a little bit of a slower episode. Oh, and one big pet peeve I had. So as somebody who actually does enjoy like shooting guns and enjoys that action kind of sequence, the NPC, the non-playable character aspect of those guys just randomly shooting at the garage and just standing behind the truck and then just standing in the open and then getting killed by Joel was a little odd and far-fetched. But, you know, just if you can put that kind of thing to the side, just like he had to kind of put to the side that there is no way that they were outside of Boston. There was no way that this is really like this long, desolate stretch of Kansas City, you know, because the big desert between Boston and Kansas City. Other than that, I think the show's doing really, really good at its pacing, development. It's making sure that it takes the time that it needs to talk about certain things and really, you know, fill in those gaps and those details for you if you're paying attention. Some of this stuff is obvious and then some of the stuff is going to be very, you know, it's not on the nose. It's if you've been really paying attention, much like the flower theory from the first episode that turned out to be true. So overall, a little bit of a slower episode. Not a bad episode. I would say it was probably my least favorite of the episodes so far, but that in no way means that this was not worth watching. It means that you need to watch this, and this is a great episode to, if you're an actor, look at, you know, glances, subtleties, body language. If you're wanting to be a storyteller or a screenwriter, look at the structure of how things come back in this, from things that are foreshadowed at the beginning of the episode and then come true towards the end. Craig Mazin is doing amazing at that in the series so far. If you were somebody who wants to look at, you know, set decoration, these sets look great. They are dressed well. The wardrobe department, if that's what you want to do, looks fantastic. Overall, if you are anybody who wants to be in the entertainment industry, the TV and film business, this is a show to check out. Not only is it engaging, the storytelling is magnificent, it looks incredible, and it is doing exactly what it needs to when it needs to do that. So, that's my breakdown of episode 4 of The Last of Us. What'd you think, guys? Let me know down in the comments. Until next time, I'm your host, Lucas, here at Houston Productions. Happy watching.